Okay, let's have some fun. Um, I have an audience, so I'll also keep them up to date because, very briefly, because to have rasa, there has to be one mind. This is a principle of rasa. It's also a principle of any type of communication. The experience is more than the intellectual content. In drama, it's the catharsis, it's the upliftment of feeling that comes from the sense of one mind, not impersonal, but the sense of one mind. It relieves one. That's why theater, it relieves one from the ego, actually, because you're experiencing something, but beyond the limited concept of I, they say. So whenever you're speaking, one mind. But this group I have here, we've been studying the first chapter, the Bṛhad-bhāgavatāmṛta, a bit. But we know first chapter, Narada looking for the topmost recipient of Krishna's mercy. Second chapter, Maharaj Parikshit explaining to Uttara the place. And to satisfy her inquiry, he tells a story of a Brahmin from Mathura, but no longer living, that gets a mantra, but never was instructed on the mantra. So when you practice Krishna consciousness without some mad-gehe, you'll get the effect of the devotion, but you won't know how to move properly to fully perfect it. At worst case, you may commit offenses. Another case, you may get bewildered by different philosophies, etc. So this Brahmin has this problem. And then he goes to Vrindavan. As I mentioned all the time, there's a transcendental system. God in the heart is the super soul. And that's connected with God's will in many ways, including how this universe is moving for us in very unique ways according to our past activities. I just give you an example is, I like to host people in the Dham. And I one person contacted me who I briefly know, and I call him the Pizza King. He's an Italian guy from Yonkers. He's been around forever, but never really got so serious in Krishna consciousness. So he's going to go to Vrindavan, so I contact Leela Vilasini to take care of him. And absolutely, he was not interested in hearing any of her stories. He wasn't interested in going to any of the temples. He really hates noise. The whole Indian experience is just too much for him. So you go to the temple every day, and he's pretty strong-willed. And you have to go to the Dham. You have to go under guidance. You have to go under guidance. And Leela was great with him. He wanted to go. They go to take prasad. He goes to the temple. He's very particular about the environment. He can't handle India. But he has something. Otherwise, why was he there? And then I just got this morning some pictures from him. He went to see Jamuna Jivan Baba. Leela took them, and they played kirtan. And he's telling me, I've never heard anything like this in my life, And then because he's Italian and he's the pizza king, I arranged for him to take prasadam at this Sarah, this pure devotee Italian cook in Vrindavan. So he showed me and they're very advanced devotees there too. So, somehow It's unique. He couldn't do this, but he did. Krishna wanted to give him the mercy. So Krishna has this plan for all of us according to our past, our what we need, etc. So there's always that hand of Krishna that's moving the world for our experiences. And I always give the phrase, destiny is the language of God. So somehow Krishna is manifesting through dreams, and he winds up in Vrindavan, and he winds up with this cowherd boy named Gopkumar, who somehow is part of this plan for him, because he's just a cowherd boy, but he knows that person's history, and he starts telling it to him. But he has that burning question. I have this mantra. What is it for? What is it? What's the direction? How do I practice it? Where do I go? And then he says, I have one should never tell his own story, but it's worse than death. And this is a theme of Vaishnavism. Things that, put us into the center are dangerous. Positions are dangerous. We've seen that in the Hare Krishna movement. Having a position is dangerous. All kinds of things that we do. Being a famous person is dangerous, and there's so many things like this. Anyway, this Gopkumar, therefore, he doesn't want to tell his story, he said, but it's very relevant to you. And I give the example. A lot of people are coming to Krishna consciousness through this 12-step recovery program. And there's one lady, Jivaji, who they can relate to, because she can tell her story because it's their story. So certain people are good to kind of teach you because their story is your story. So he has the same exact story as Gopkumar, as this Brahmin. He also gets a mantra, and he didn't. But his story is the completion. His story, he realizes what the mantra is and that whole thing. So he also, and he tells the story. He's a cowherd boy, and he's fairly well off because he has cows to take care of, and this Brahmin, this beautiful Brahmin who's in this ecstatic, very high state, him and his friend meet, and he chooses to serve him by bringing him some milk, etc. And then this Brahmin says, I will give you this mercy, almost as if mercy is like a commodity. I will give you this mercy. And the mercy comes in form of the same mantra that this other Brahmin got. So he gives him this mantra. And then, because he starts to explain the mantra, and because he's on a very high emotional absorption, maha prema vesha, he just loses it, begins to cry, and wanders around. And Gopkumar, the guy has no residence. He doesn't know where his guru is, but he gets the mantra. So he winds up in the same situation that this Brahmin wound up, where he has this mantra, and he wants to find really what it is, especially because he said, here, this is the mercy of God. So he feels that this mantra is God, but who is this God? What is it? He doesn't. So it's kind of a theme. I think it's the twofold process of faith: experience and knowledge. You get an experience and you get an education. And to deepen the experience, you need to get an education. So he begins to search, and he goes to the Ganga or something, and then he sees this Brahmin. He said, "What do you do?" "I'm worshiping God," and it's a Shalagram Shila. "I'm worshiping God." He said, "Oh, this is great. I was looking for God." And then he sees, after the worship, he puts the Shalagram Shila in a box, and And he becomes kind of like, Gop Kumar becomes like, what's going on? You hardly fed him and you're putting him in this box. What's going on? And the Brahmin, being humble. When someone is humble, he never sees another person's faults as the whole person, but he takes whatever fault that someone sees in him seriously. Not psychologically, but spiritually. He takes it, so this Brahmin, I just can't worship in the proper way. I don't have much to give. I feel terrible about it, But if you want to get bhav out of seeing God worshipped in the proper way, now today's verse, you want to see the Lord's opulence in a great festival of his worship, then you go to this capital city of the saintly king, and he's attached in great love, and you'll find the city, and there you can behold the Lord of the universe, not so difficult to see. And there's something about, even in Braj, about opulence and devotion, because when you love someone, you offer the best. Of course, in Braj, in Vrindavan, the sweetness of Krishna is so there that the opulence kind of blurs in the background. Just like if there's a great romance. If there's a great romance, then people don't see much the environment. It's like that in Braj. It's very opulent, but when you read Krishna book or anything, you don't really reflect on the opulence, you reflect on the sweetness. Of course, flowers are opulent, and cows are opulent, and birds are opulent. But somehow and I always give the example, like Krishna Balaram Mandir, when they spend, $6,000, $7,000, $8,000 on flowers for a festival, and you go in there and you feel that this is love. This is love. So there's something there, and also, Krishna has his alankar, avaram, alankar. Alankar are the ornaments, and avaram are the bodily markings, especially in terms of Srimati Radharani. She has jewelry and she has bodily markings. When she goes to cook, she has to take off the jewelry, but her bodily markings are there. What women do, like this, and different decorations. And the avaram is more beautiful than the alankar. But so now he's going to go. And now, as Gop Kumar, as Narada Muni in the first book was looking for the topmost recipient of Krishna's mercy, now the journey is for the place that facilitates the topmost recipient of Krishna's mercy. What is the place that nourishes it? And it's important, because he's going to go different places and he's not going to be satisfied because the atmosphere is not supportive. The atmosphere is important in terms of our love. And that's why we have a living room with pictures of the family and maybe some nasharai. Sometimes I throw in my Yiddish. Nash is just to pick at food. And nasharai is the food you pick on. There's a little nasharai there, right? And then there's family pictures. The man of the house has his chair that kind of goes back. So it's like, and a different living, romance. If it's like just a single guy or something, or he has the living room in a different way for a different type of love. He could care less if his family visits. He wants a different rasa in his living room. He can go to his family's house to see the pictures. So there's this relationship. So somehow or other, he's looking for the place that nourishes. hṛt-pūrakaṁ mahānandaṁ sarvathānubhaviṣyasi idānīm etya mad-gehe bhuṅkṣva viṣṇu-niveditam. You will feel great ecstasy, fulfilling all your heart's desires. But for now, please come have lunch in my house with the remnants of what has been offered to Viṣṇu. You'll be satisfied here. You're not going to be satisfied with my worship. You really want to see love. I don't have so much love. You want to see love. Then you see the opulence that's offered. Opulence is inspiring. I always tell yes.
Sorry, go ahead.
The first time I went to the Himalayas and saw the vast mountain ranges, it was devotional. It was awe-inspiring. What
is opulence?
What is opulence? Well, I think in our terms, when we say Aishvarya, it's the accoutrements of sense objects that indicate your position. I think that's what we would call like Aishvarya. Because there's also opulence with flowers and all these things. But, you can have a simple person that lives in a village and has flowers and birds, cows, those things. But he doesn't have rubies, diamonds, rings and pearls, and all this type of opulence. So yeah, Aishvarya. And it also indicates a mood of worship when your devotion is for superiority more than personality. That would be like Aishvarya. Yes.
Can I add something?
Sure, you may.
Also, God is Ishvara, the Supreme Controller. So when he displays his godhood, that is called Aishvarya.
Okay. So, purport: Gopkumar will certainly feel bliss if he witnesses the opulence of the Viṣṇu deity in the royal city, hears the songs and prayers recited for the pleasure of the Lord, and tastes the remnants of food offered to the Lord. The Brahmin admits that devotees who have pure love for the Lord prefer to see him worship with suitable opulence that he, a poor man, cannot provide for his own deity. Gopakumar should therefore at once go to the capital, but before he goes, he should have lunch at the Brahmin's house, where he can taste what little rice and other items have been offered this morning to the Brahmin Shalagram deity. Tadvachanandito gatva shuditopi tadalayam tam pranamya tad udishta vartmanatam parimagam. Delighted by the Brahmin's words, this is Gopkumar speaking, I offered him my obeisance and without stopping at his house, even though hungry, I set up for the capital by the road he pointed out. So this is like greed. They really want it. And it becomes more important. It's a more desirable goal than your own sense gratification. Just like Maharaj Pricket. Initially he wanted water, and he went, and the Samaka Rishi was meditating, and he was the king. So he had that abhiman. And when the sage didn't offer him water, although the sage was meditating, he went outside and saw a dead snake and grabbed the snake and in his bow and put him around him. And then his son cursed Maharaj Pricket And this is such an interesting point. That is how Kali Yuga began. When you have power without culture. Because the young boy had power, a seminal power, but he didn't have culture. He should have, it was something else, but not curse Marge Prickett to die. But of course, Marge Prickett was so advanced. What did he say? Sadhu Mene, this is good. I'll be free from the offense. I'll become detached from this world. And my family won't have to accrue any of the sin, will not come in my legacy. Sadhu Mene, we should also say, like Queen Kunti, let these calamities happen again and again, whatever bring us towards Krishna. And I told the story yesterday, these people, when the Russian devotees came and we worshiped them, we honored them so deeply. And there was even this thing that Shivaram Swami and Bibi Govinda Swami, they cooked them a feast in Tamal Krishna Maharaj's house, fed 10 times as much as they could eat, then put sand outside the door. And then when they left, they ate their remnants and they took the dust from their feet. So when I was hosting 3 of these devotees who were notably the heaviest of all the Russian devotees, the heaviest, the ones that were in jail, they couldn't break them. And this one person was complaining to me, and he said, I think it's more dangerous here than it is in prison. Because in prison, they can only take your body, but here they can take your soul. Why are they honoring us? And then the other brother heard the conversation. He looked me at with such disdain and said, Queen Kunti was right. Let these calamities happen again and again. So anyway, Marge Prickett, of course, he fasted till death, and he wasn't concerned with eating. He just wasn't concerned with eating. His offense is because he couldn't control his thirst. Now he's not even eating or drinking. 7 days. Antapure Devi Kule Jagat Isha Chanadvavitnim Apurvam Tumalam Dorach Shrutva Richam Amunjanam. Within the inner precincts of the city, from a distance I heard the sound of temple worship of the Lord of the universe. I had never heard such a tumult, so I asked about it from people nearby. Purport: the noise Gop Kumar heard from the Lord's Artik ceremony in the royal temple, where many devotees were chanting and playing musical instruments, the sounds impressed Gop Kumar as very wonderful. So there was like all these gongs banging and music and trumpets, and it was a manifestation of devotion. It was devotional. But it was Vaikuntha, not Braja Bhakti, Vaikuntha Bhakti. It was taking their reverence and respect and Bob in the heart becomes, the Bob in the heart is, it becomes materialized. That's the word. It becomes materialized in sound. It becomes materialized in food. Becomes materialized in sight. So it's very impressive. It's not just, again, I say this many times, it's not just a sensual experience. It's an emotional or spiritual experience. Vigaya tattva jagadishvam ikshitam tam kanappavarita. Okay. Learning that the Lord of the universe was being worshipped, I wanted to see him. As I approached him, no one stopped me, so I quickly entered the temple, where in front of me I beheld the beautiful four-armed form of the Lord, his hands resplendent with a conch shell, disc, lotus, and club. So this, again, in spiritual things, the actuality is greater than the fantasy. In material things, the fantasy is greater than the actual. So no matter what the Brahmin who was worshiping the shalagram told him how nice it is, it was much more. I can explain just in a simple way. Several times recently, I took Sri Rupa came with me, and Sri Prahlad and Sri Gandharvika, and we went to Akshara. How do you pronounce it? Aksharadham. There's a temple in New Jersey. It's 1 million square cubic feet. It's one of the most beautiful temples anywhere in the world. It may be the second biggest, anywhere in the world. I can't explain it to you how high class this temple is, how intricate the marble is carved. I still can't figure out. They have marble on the floor in patterns, but huge marble. How do you make patterns? It's cut up. It's just mind blowing. And the organization and their prasad and everything. But the actuality will be greater than the fan. If you see it, it'll be greater than anything I can explain to you. And they have good pizza and good Indian street food and good Indian thalis. All parts of his body was exquisitely attractive, and his complexion resembled a new rain cloud. Words hardly can describe his youthful body, dressed in yellow silk, ornamented with gold and garlanded with forest flowers that increased his beauty. His face, with its sweet nectarian smile and lotus-like eyes, appeared like the full moon. So I just can't describe it. It's while many attendants fondly attached to serving and worship with various rare items, he stood on an excellent throne and from a distance watched the dancing and other entertainment presented before him. Every sort of wonderful paraphernalia was being engaged for his pleasure. So it was like mind-blowing. There was bands playing and Brahmins chanting and trumpets playing and one offering, like the deity of Nathji in Natwar. I went there. First, it was hard to get to the temple because on the side of the temple were all these sweet shops and this Nathji prasadam. They have a well of ghee. They have water comes on the bus. It's like 12 hours every day. The Jamuna water comes from the Jamuna. I mean, they have rooms of spices and that's Braja Bhakti too. That's Braja Bhakti. The best. Bhakti means offer the best. That's why many times I understood. You want to understand Sri Radha, you want to understand Bhakti, you have to understand the correlation between pleasure, love, and beauty. Love is pleasure, and beauty means to offer the best. That's why Radharani is Mahabhav Sarup. She's the form of, there's a form of love, which is the best. Radharani is the best for Krishna in every way. So this is, Vaikuntha worship, but it's inspiring. I tell you, even I go to, it's called Aksharadham, that's what it's called. I go there, It's inspiring. It's inspiring. The organization, the opulence. But one thing we have in the Hare Krishna movement, besides not just one temple, but 18 in Delhi and 1,000 around the world, is we have kirtan and deity worship that's unparalleled. The deity worship is unparalleled. And the kirtan. And I really appreciated when I went with Jack. He wasn't it. Where's the kirtan? Forget it. He couldn't get into that place. But I was like, whoa, whoa. Yeah, it was Parmananda Purnoham Pranamam Dandavan Muhu Vyachintayam Idam Swasya Pashyam Adya Didikshitam. Filled with supreme bliss, I repeatedly fell on the ground. Today I thought, I have seen what I always wanted to see. So it's impressive. It's devotional. I was in the Himalayas. My God, I was feeling reverence. I was feeling that happy smallness. How vast is God's energy? It's so powerful. Samprapto janma safalyam nagamishyam yatakvachit Vaishnavanam chakripaya tataiva nyavasam sukham. Now my life is a success. I shall never go away from this place. And so by the mercy of the Vaishnavas, I begin to live there happily. So we all want our place, right? We all want to find our place, right? Where is that place? Of course, when you're a devotee, it's a little bit different. Because of a preacher, if you're a preacher, it's different. Because you get Prabhu Dattadesh. You get the place given by the spiritual master. And that place will give you pleasure. Where, for example, when Prabhupada came to New York, I was listening to these tapes, and Prabhupada was in 26 Second Avenue. And in those days, now it's such a neighbor, in those days, forget it. It was, and then what to speak First Avenue, and then, of course, A, B, C, D. All right, bad, crazy, dead, East River. It's like, yeah. People wouldn't go there. I once was preaching to this wealthy Argentinian lady. It was hard for her to come to Second Avenue. So you listen to the tapes, and there's screeching outside, and then Prabhupada says, why have I come to this place? Because it did not suit his, an elderly, cultured Bengali gentleman. A skinhead, sees an abandoned building and squats as if it's, Vaikuntha. Your environment, but for an elderly man, it's the last place he would want to be for his nature. See, why have I come? Because I was 100% faithful to the order of my spiritual master. That becomes the place. And so, therefore, I'm really happy that Jayadvaita Maharaj is in New York. He's not hanging out in Govardhan. Somehow, by Krishna's grace, I don't know. I never can tell if I'll ever go again. Krishna can change his plan. But up until now, Vrindavan and Govardhan has been my Prabhu Dattadesh, my place of residence that my Prabhupada gave me. But I like it with Jayadvaita Maharaj. He's in New York. It's a horrible, compared to being in India, as far as I can see. And, but I think he's happy, because it's place of service. And it's great to have a sadhu of his caliber in New York. I think you need more places where a real sadhu stays. Gopkumar had left his family and friends to wander in search of his worshipful Lord, and now had found him. Although as a penniless beggar from a foreign country, Gopkumar could hardly expect to be allowed to stay in the neighborhood of the royal palace and dine on the remnants of the king's deity. The local Vaishnavas were kind to him. They bought him Mahaprasad and did everything possible to encourage and protect him. Vaishnavas should be kind. Vaishnavas should be kind. Offering prasad to people and, Pujano viṣṇu-niveditam, pashyam puja mahotsavam, shrinvan pujari mahatmyam, yatnam mantram raho japam. I would eat remnants of food offered to Lord Viṣṇu, witness the great festivals of his worship, and hear the glories of his worship and more, all the while carefully chanting my mantra in private. Purport: while residing with the Vaishnavas who served the deity of Lord Viṣṇu, Gopkumar heard from them the glories of the worship of Viṣṇu as described in the various Puranas and other scriptures. He heard that worshipping Viṣṇu is the highest activity for human beings, and he heard specific instructions about various aspects of his worship. He also heard the glories of Lord Viṣṇu's prasad. All the benefits ascribed to the vow of fasting for 6 months are gained in Kali Yuga by those who eat food mixed with the remnants of Lord Viṣṇu. So important to offer the food properly and eat the Krishna prasad. From all these instructions, however, Gopkumar did not receive a complete systematic spiritual education. No one told him, for example, about such basic matters as the existence of higher planets, like Svarga of Lord Indra. The Vaishnavas were unaware that Gopkumar, despite his saintly qualities, never had any training. Thus he remained naive about the complexities of the material world. Now he says, yet my heart, O Brahman, never forgot the beauty of this Vrajabhumi and the joy of playing here as a cowherd. My heart never forgot the beauty of this Vrajabhumi and the joy of playing here. Purport: then I think this is it. When I'm in Vrindavan, I don't go any place. Whenever I go any place, I want to come back. And I remember 30 years ago, I went up to the Himalayas, a little book distribution party of teenagers. We were all the way up there. Oh my God, how beautiful it was. We went to a place, Nainital, that's 9 lakes in the Himalayas. Then we went Ranikhet higher, and we ran out of books. And okay, we got to go back to Vrindavan. And any excuse. The Himalayas is so beautiful, it's so peaceful, it's so quiet. Braj, I kind of say, if you want love of Godhead, then don't make peace your goal. Love is drama. It's not Shanti. Braja Bhakti is not Shanti. Braja Bhakti is drama. But it's so sweet. And once you get that taste, you can't forget that taste. There's no other place like it. Even I'm not only here in Colombia, I'm not only here in Cali, but I'm here in the Pansi. You ever heard of the Pansi? Pansi area. Fantastic. The rivers, the beauty, the food, this area of Colombia. Even someone was from Colombia. You, right? Saying, oh, I never knew Kali, but Bogota man here, he never knew Kali was so beautiful. It's so beautiful. And after my class, I'll come in, the breakfast will be there. There'll be a big bowl of, I think today there'll be mango and papaya cut up. And then I'll have my arepa with cheese, a kind of a paneer cut there with tomatoes, avocado, some hummus, and some chili flakes. If I'm lucky. But I'm very good. I take just one arepa and the fruit. That's it. Just keep myself fit for all the activities. But anyway, the public, Gop Kumar, far from being just sentimental, was a sign that chanting his mantra was reaping transcendental results. The public opulence of Lord Viṣṇu's worship did not attract him more than the simple happiness of wandering about the fields of Vraja. While sleeping or awake, he could not forget Vraja. Even while he took part in Lord Viṣṇu's festivals, thoughts of Vraja Bhumi lingered in his mind. Yeah, it's nothing like it, Vraja. Nothing like it. You can try to replicate something, but it's not that Bhav of Vraja. Right, I'm here with Nanda and Chandrika. David, walk around with me, and I'm here with them in Kali now, but we were there in Govardhan, hang in my ashram. In the morning, walk around Govardhan. What an incredible feeling, right? Walk around Govardhan, the energy, that relationship between you and the hill. Oh, Govardhan, oh, Giriraj, please allow me. But you can never tell. Krishna may have some other plan for me. It's like that. I had such a good run. Hopefully, maybe more years, but I can never complain because, yeah. Evam dinani katichit sanandam tatvatishtata tadvik puja bidani me parama lalasajani. Remaining thus for some days in that place, I developed great eagerness to engage in that method of worship. Gokumar was eager to reciprocate in a personal way with the Lord of the universe. The opulent worship in Vishnu's temple seemed such a way. So anyway, this sets it up again. This is going to happen because the whole idea, looking for the place. So he has that bhav, and now Gokumar is going to go through the universe, and you can see that once you have that bhav, no other place. Of course, we can create that bhav in our own houses. Where the deity is also the Dham. Bhakti Sandarbha says that. So I have Giriraj here, so this is also Govardhan. You have Gornitai, it's also Navadvip if you do the worship proper. So you can't, but at the same sense, that is what will satisfy your heart. Once you have Brahmanda Brahmate, Konya Bhagavan Jeev, Guru Krishna Pasadi Pai, Bhakti Lata Bij. Once you have that seed, that faith, that taste. And then, as one great saint in Vrindavan said, he was giving lecture on Vrindavan Mahimamrita, which is the most fanatic glorification of Vrindavan. I'd rather hear the Pajalpa of the Brijbasis than attain love of Godhead any place else. The sadhu was lecturing on every day. A lot of ISKCON devotees would go and someone would come back with the translations. And then the sadhu, because sadhus, they're not political. They don't have agendas. They just speak shastras. He said, you should never leave Vrindavan, but if you go from Vrindavan to preach Vrindavan, then that's as good as Vrindavan. That's as good as Vrindavan. Okay, let me just hear. Okay, a nice 1 second there. Okay, Jamuna Jaya, what point did you kind of like today that maybe you'll take back to the Bhakti Center with? Oh, she's not here. Did she go for her? Okay.
She
Sure.
left.
Yeah, she had it. She teaches at Yogamaya today. Henry, just nice to say hello to you.
Maharaj, actually that story about the Russian devotees and was just, it just caused an avalanche of realizations in my heart, and I don't think a lot of people know the context of what happened with all the Russian devotees. So a detail, so was that when Tamal Krishna Maharaj was at his house, or was that after he'd passed away?
No, he was still here at that time, but he just wasn't there.
Okay.
But B.B. Govinda Swami and Shivaram Swami got their house.
That is such an amazing story, and what the devotees said to you confidentially afterwards, just completely mind-boggling. They were so realized. I got a huge realization about the Russian devotees hearing that. You should write it in a short story Monday morning greeting or something. You should expand on that story. It's so powerful.
I may do that because it's Sunday and I don't have anything for next week yet. So maybe I'll call it Queen Kunti was right. Right?
Yes.
Because all these stories. Henry, would you say hello to the people in my crowd here for today?
Oh, sure.
This is my good friend Henry.
I know Henry. Haribo, Henry.
Hare Krishna.
Good to meet you.
Yeah.
Hare Krishna.
Every day I'm giving class morning and evening. I didn't have a festival here, but just a few people that came or I know. Okay, Henry, Queen Kunti was right. Next Monday morning greetings.
Yes.
Because all these stories should be kind of recorded.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah. Okay. And nice to see you in your new place.
Well, I'm in Washington now. I'm up here for some St. Albans events, and I've been blowing everybody's minds here. You opened up that place for Krishna consciousness, and now they swarm to me for advice. I'm a little afraid because I'm feeling a little in the center there, but thank you for the warning against being in the center.
Henry, it's always great to see you and hear you. Okay. Thank you. Haribo. Who else will say hello today?
I can say hello. Hare Krishna. Thank you for class.
Oh, Hare Krishna, nice to see you.
I can't wait to go to that temple in New Jersey.
Okay, the thing is not so good now. This is okay. Thank you,
You want my
Samantha.
sound? You got it. It's my headphone.
Okay. Well, I have to take you up that thing about going to, and you live near where I'm staying in Jersey, so we'll have to get together now. Okay. Okay. Anybody else?
Hare Krishna Maharaj. I don't know if
Gail.
I don't know if Henry is still there, because I would have wanted to hear one of the realizations of that avalanche, especially the mind-blowing one. I wonder if he would share his mind-blowing realization.
Come on, it was so simple that those devotees, even though they were in Russia being tortured, right? They were saying it was better there for their bhakti when they're in Vrindavan being glorified.
Oh,
That's
that was the
mind-blowing.
one? That was the one? Okay.
Yes, of course. Of course.
Okay, so Maharaj, then I do have a question. When you just wanted you to elaborate on, when the Vaishnav hears criticism, it's not psychological, it's spiritual. Remember that line?
When a Vaishnav hears criticism?
Yeah, it's like it affects.
No, but I'm just saying it's when a Vaishnav looks at another person, they don't see their fault as the whole person.
Yeah.
But when they're criticized, they kind of take that so seriously. You know, in somebody else, they may not see it. They'll see, oh, that the fault is not the whole person. When they see it themselves, they'll kind of. And I'm saying, what I'm saying also, it's not just psychological. Like they're, you know, they have low self-esteem and they just start wallowing in themselves.
Right.
It's kind of their spiritual nature to be humble and
Mm.
see their separation from God. Thank you for that question, Gail.
Okay. Thank you, Maharaj.
Oh, okay. I have something else I'll speak to you about, but later. Okay.
Mm.
Anybody else say hello? Okay. We'll head out today.
Hare Krishna Maharaj.
Oh, who's this?
Sundari.
From where?
Thank
From okay. Hare
I'm
Krishna.
from Vancouver, Maharaj. I am.
Okay. Okay. Hare Bon. Thank you.
Thank you very much for the class.
Thank you for always coming on the class faithfully.
Thank you very much, Maharaj. That's my pleasure. That's your mercy.
Hearing from sadhu is the best service for the sadhu. Hearing from them is the best service. That says in Shastra.
We are so lucky
Okay.
that you give class every week, Maharaj. Thank you very much.
Okay. Okay.
This is Krishna-katha. Thank you greatly for the class.
Okay.
We're waiting for you.
Thank you. Thank you. Okay. I'm looking at the list of all the people that have come to the class today. Thank you very much. And we'll go. Vanchakalpatarubhyascha.